Hello, my name is Tiffany Ware, and I'm the director of the Writing Lab at Texas Southern University. Today I will present to you a mini lesson on the structure of a body paragraph. Let's begin. So one of the things that I see a lot of students come into the Writing Lab, as well as those that I teach, is that they become very frustrated. So I want you to know that don't despair. I can help you go from this student to this A student. So some things never change when developing an essay. It still has the same basic elements. You will have an introduction, you will have body paragraphs, and you will have the conclusion. In the introduction, you will always have a hook. That's the first sentence opening up the essay. You will have background information, which is on the subject, the topic that you're writing about. And then last, you will have a thesis statement, which is also known as the claim. Now we're ready to build our body paragraphs that will consist of the evidence that you're going to use to support your claim, and then you will have your conclusion. That is the conclusion in the body paragraph that will wrap up the point that you're making. So the thesis statement and its function to the body. It describes your topic, what the essay will be about, and introduces the specific claim that you're making about your topic. You can write your thesis statement in two ways. You can describe it in a series of 3 points, which will give you the support and prove your claim, or you can just make a general statement, which will explore those topics that you found in your reading. So a general statement thesis. Example, though T'Challa is faced with deceit and danger, he must overcome his biggest adversary, which is self. Now, please note with this, in your body paragraphs, you are going to explore how the deceit and the danger caused him issues, and then you also are going to explore how he overcame that with his deficit in his doubt and overcoming that in his ability. Now, to explore that with 3 thesis points, you're going to look at this example. Though T'Challa is faced with deceit and danger upon his return, he must overcome a powerful enemy, body paragraph 1. Sidestep war, body paragraph 2, and face his biggest adversary, which is body paragraph 3. Now notice in the general statement thesis, they had the same examples there, except you are going to explore those in body. So an example of how this looks structurally, introduction, you have your hook. Marvel's new Black Panther is pure drop the mic fun. You have your background. The movie grossed over $202 million this weekend. The film focuses on T'Challa, the main character, and his return home to Wakanda to claim his rightful throne as king. And then now we're getting ready to go into our thesis. This statement here is called a lead in to your thesis. From the moment of his arrival, he is constantly tested by friends and foes alike. Now we're ready for the thesis. Though he is faced with deceit and danger, he must overcome his biggest adversary, self. Now we're ready to start our body paragraphs. Where do we begin? You look at the structure of the body paragraphs. Topic, sentence, point 1. Example of that point that you're making. Explain that example. Elaborate. In other words, this is one that students fail to understand and have problems with. So when we say elaborate, what we mean is that we are connecting the dots. You've made a point here, but you need to make it go back to the claim that you're making, which was your thesis. And then you're going to conclude that point. So we have an example in the next slide. See, one of the methods that I teach students that was taught to me when I was in school is the P.I.E method. The P.I.E is an acronym that will help you on exams as well as writing the essay. Purpose, that's point 1. Information, which is the example to support that topic sentence, point 1. Textual support, which comes from your book, database, or personal experience. Then the explanation, which I cited earlier, is connect your point back to your claim, your thesis, and explain the significance to the claim, the point, by tying it together. Elaborate, which is connect the point and an example back to the thesis. And last, conclude the paragraph. And you're going to use transitions. This P.I.E method will give you the 5 to 8 sentences that you need in each body paragraph. So why are transitions used? They help you build your paragraph sentences, moving from one paragraph to the next or one sentence. Transitions that provide examples are these that follows. For examples, instance, in particular, specifically, demonstrate, illustrate. Those that help you conclude your point. Examples are given these facts, hence, and conclusions, so, thus, to conclude, therefore. Transitions that provide a summary, briefly, in brief, overall, summing up, to put in briefly, to sum up and summarize. Now, here is an example with all of it pulled together using transitions and everything. P. Purpose, point 1. Black Panther's storyline begins with T'Challa's frustration with duty versus honor and his impending crown to be king in his native land, Wakanda. In a moment of self-reflection, he recalls a conversation he had with his dad, who tries to assure his capability as well as his credibility in himself. Information, example. For example, T'Challa says, "You are a good king with a good heart, and it's hard for a good man to be king." Explanation. This is where you explain, elaborate the example by tying it back to your point. In this quote, T'Challa alludes to the internal conflict that he faces because of the ill-favored decisions a king must make to protect his country as it conflicts with his conscience. Elaborate. This conflict is woefully tested in his conversations with Killmonger and M'Baku. Conclusion. Ultimately, the man takes a look in the mirror and embraces his legacy as king and his alter ego, Black Panther. So, those examples that I had, you need to cite them if they're not original in thought. This came from a quote from the film, so therefore I'm giving credit to it. Here, fandom, and so note that I have provided an example of the work cited page as well. This is how it is done in MLA formatting. Then you have a work cited for an APA. Notice how the in-text citation is similar to MLA, except that you're putting the title in quotation mark. Finally, as a review, the 5 paragraphs are just a template. Remember, you have your introduction, which will give the context, and your argument, which is the claim that you're proving. You have your 3 body paragraph and their points, and then finally you have your conclusion, which is your synthesis, what you have learned from that information in body paragraphs 1, 2, and 3. I hope this helps you. If there are any questions, please feel free to contact me at tigerowl@tsu.edu. And remember, at TSU's Tiger Writing Lab, tigerific things happen.